We're live. SummerSlam Post-Show. JML.
Charlie.
Frank.
It's been a long day. It's been a very, very long day. Hold on. Let me make sure. Rookie move. I don't have any of the stream on in the background. Yep. There we go. We'll start off. What did you guys think of the show?
Who's going first here?
Go
ahead, man.
I thought all aside from Liv Morgan looking completely weak, it was a great show.
Liv Morgan looking weak?
Yeah.
All right, you want to jump into that, Frank? What'd you think, Rousey, Morgan?
Yeah, it's funny because I did kind of say I thought she'd get a cheap win and then Ronda would beat her down afterwards. Exactly what happened. That was weird. I don't know. It was just felt a bit disjointed. I don't know. It was very strangely. I don't know. It was clunky.
Yeah, it
Ronda
seemed
like
like
sorts. I don't know.
It almost seemed like a heel turn by Liv more than it was a heel turn by Rousey.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, even though that's not where they're headed. Obviously, they want Rousey to be a heel.
Yeah.
What do you? Hold on, I'm getting asked something. This is the beauty of going live.
Oh yeah, I just pulled it up on here. Is there a chat going on? Anybody in the chat room?
Yeah, we have a chat.
I see it there. Cool.
We have a chat. It's late. I don't expect many people to join. I think overall, that was probably my least favorite part of the entire show.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good to talk about. Frank is saying hello. Hello, Frank. But you're with us. Why are you saying hello? You're saying hello to chat?
Yeah, I'm just saying hi to anybody in the chat.
Cool.
Beauty of life television, guys.
Where do you think they head from here with the Liv Morgan Rousey program? Charlie, I'll start with you.
That's a good question. Ronda will be coming out saying that Liv tapped before Ronda got pinned. So maybe one more in the series.
Yeah. I think we'll probably see Ronda suspended because of the whole
referee
with the official.
Yeah.
So we may not get her again till Survivor Series. I don't think we're necessarily going to see her go to the Castle show. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm not sure if she's advertised for the show. It is interesting because they did make it a point. She did attack two referees or one referee, and then she shoved several of the officials aside. So
yeah, one referee.
They do have something set up like that if they want to do something to get her off TV. Obviously, it's not finished. It was done as a way of, controversial finish. Although I was sitting there with my friends who were over, I'm like, well, she pinned her, so it doesn't matter if she's tapping, she's pinning her.
Yeah.
I never liked that finish. Like, I always thought it was kind of silly. But and the match itself felt kind of weird. So yeah, that was probably the only part of the night that was a little off. Thankfully, it wasn't like super long. It didn't take up a lot of time in the show, but the only positive thing was, after the match with Ronda.
Yeah, that was kind of the low light of the night amongst a lot of good, I felt. Do you want to talk about the opening match of the night?
Of
Becky
course.
and Bianca?
Absolutely.
Now, Charlie and I have reviewed many of WWF pay-per-views because that's what we've reviewed. We haven't done any WWE shows, but back in the day and even recent history, they've done a good job booking opening matches, and I thought this was another really well booked opening match. And it was really funny that I've mentioned on our show that dropped earlier today, the SummerSlam show, and some of the other shows like the Weekly Verdicts, that I felt Becky needed a character change, and
Yeah.
they're delivering now a character change. But then the added layer to that whole scenario was the return of Bayley, and out comes Dakota Kai, who Corey Graves on commentary even brings up she's not even under WWE contract.
Yeah.
Which the commentary was awesome tonight. It seemed like they had so much more freedom. The whole presentation of the show. Then you had Io Shirai, who is now called Io Sky or Io Sky, something like that.
They kept calling her Io Sky. I'm like,
that's her new name.
Yeah, it looks
it's
like
officially changed to that.
So they can trademark it, which is, I think, is fine. I mean, she's known as a genius of the sky. It fits.
Yeah, it makes more sense, I guess.
Yeah.
And like we said, like I said, a lot of people don't watch NXT. So
right, this is the first time, but she did get a big response, and the way she was presented was as a big major star. So,
in the way that they were shooting it, I thought Becky was gonna freaking throw a haymaker at Bianca, and they were all gonna beat down on her. But I'm glad that they didn't do like that scenario. So I think Becky needs to be a face. It's essentially been a year of this heel turn that really hasn't gone too well, in my opinion. There's still money on the table with a face Becky, and hopefully she reverts more to the man character that was a real money maker. She was arguably the biggest star in WWE with that run.
Yeah.
All right.
It's interesting. Do you see Bayley immediately going for the title? Like where do you think this program is headed with these 5 females? Charlie?
I do see Bayley being the next top contender for it. It could be one of those go through Io Sky and Dakota Kai to get to me type things.
Yes.
Or whatever. But Bayley is definitely top of the next in line.
Frank.
Yeah. Obviously, yeah, they have that built-in history. They were supposed to have one more match before Bayley got injured. So it never was settled between her and Bianca. I do find it interesting that they're giving her like a group of sorts. I am glad they kept Bayley as a heel. They could have easily brought her back. She would have got a big pop, and she did. I think there's still a story to tell there, and
yes,
the way everything's set up, it makes more sense. I mean, you do have I was thinking the same as you. I thought Becky was gonna attack her behind, and then it's interesting because now you've got 3, you've got them 2. Obviously, they could use one more person. Who could that be?
Alexa.
Could be Alexa. For now, I guess. Obviously, we talked earlier today on the preview. If they do reconcile with Sasha, at least.
That would be cool.
You could put her right in there. Obviously, she still has the history with Bayley, so you put her on the side with Becky and Bianca they could do six women, whatever they got to do. But yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. Like, I don't know where they're going with it, and it's always good when you don't know where they're going with something.
Yes. So that was the opener, and what an opener to have between the match, which I thought was a really awesome match.
Fun match, yeah.
The story, it really got the crowd hot and involved. So I was really happy about that.
Yeah.
We have what else do you guys want to talk about? Do you want to kind of go in match order? Do you want to jump around? What do you guys want to do?
We can go in match order. I just started with my only complaint of the event.
Okay.
We could run through the card.
We had Logan Paul and The Miz. The Miz accompanied by Ciampa and Maurice. Maurice, with every passing moment, she gets better looking and better looking. It's
Absolutely.
amazing. The Miz is one lucky fella, and the wonder why. Whenever she says, "Oh, let's move and buy this house," he's like, "Yeah, okay, sure."
And also, I just think when they're together on screen, it makes his presentation even better.
It does.
She's a tremendous heel and tremendous just job that she does on the outside of the ring.
And as far like, is this the best they can do with Ciampa? No. However, him being with Miz is giving him something to do, which is good, because for 6 weeks, 7 weeks, he had no direction. At least now he's a lackey for the Miz, which previously everyone that's been attached to the Miz has gotten some sort of push, either with the Miz or even after breaking off of the Miz.
Yeah.
Frank pointed out to me during a text message, he's like, Ciampa's in his ring gear. I was hoping for Johnny Wrestling. We didn't get Johnny Wrestling. We did get an AJ Styles appearance on the show, which was cool. But I think the real showstopper, and no surprise to me, but probably the surprise of the night to most of the audience and the crowd, was Logan Paul's performance. He came out. The fans really it was like nothing, no reaction. By the end of the match, they were on their feet for him.
Yeah.
What a performance. What a performance. To go from a guy who the crowd really didn't like that much to a guy that they were like, holy shit, what an athlete. That's quite a debut. We got people. We got Ryan M. What's up? What's up, Ryan? Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
We know it's late. But I'd rather have gone live than having to edit and record another video tomorrow. So it's easier to do this.
I think
it's easier to get the three of us on screen.
Yeah,
and
man.
Oh, by the way, if you noticed, Frank got a webcam, so he looks
in between
very clean and clear, and it's awesome. So
the best I've looked today, so that's good.
Yeah, he was supposed to have it the other day, but
back to the match. I think earlier in our preview, I was convinced that the crowd was going to turn on Logan and not give him a chance. But being outside of New York maybe helped, but he definitely won him over. He impressed me tonight. I mean, he looked good at Mania, I thought today he held his own. It was booked very smartly. Ciampa being ringside, hamming it up for the camera. I think it pointed up to you. He was very entertaining, as he always is.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good way to establish him as somebody that's like, I know people look, The Miz. I'm like, but if people are with him, they're important.
Yeah.
And Miz kept it safe up till botching his own finishing move. But
I mean, Paul hung in there. He's obviously in great shape. He's prepared. He had his win the whole time.
He could take a punch, and he could take. I mean, he was in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. Granted, right. Floyd Mayweather is not the biggest dude in the world, but he could still punch really hard.
Right.
And he was able to take punches from Floyd Mayweather. So I'm sure any miscue or body shot the Miz could have gave him was like nothing compared to what he's already faced.
Yeah. In his second match, he's not,
What's up, Mark?
Hey, Mark, good to see you in here. A friend of mine. Yeah, it was good to see that he held his own. And in his only second match, he looked pretty natural. I'm not saying, he's not, rested a year already or anything like that, but he's got some skill. He's got some, or at least he's taken to it pretty well quickly. Not everybody can do that. We've only seen
he looks like a star. He's able to speak in front of a live crowd. And that frog splash through the announce table,
Impressive.
Was very impressive.
So impressive.
It was not only beautifully executed. He basically hit him as perfect as you could hit somebody coming off the table like that. Like, I was like, here we go. I think I said to you, it's like Shane McMahon if he had like perfect athleticism, I guess, and not just being insane. He just it was a beautiful frog splash. Probably not seen since the days when Eddie was tagging with Art Barr back in the day. But yeah, a great performance. Crowd got into it, and that's all that matters. So they got the story they were trying to tell worked.
Yeah, my question to both of you, we'll start with Frank, then work back to Charlie, and then I'll end it. Where do you see Logan Paul going from here? What's next?
Obviously, we could see a tag match that was kind of set up tonight, which I thought was going to happen in the first place. But I don't know if I know he signed a contract. I don't know if he's planning on being around all the time or if he's supposed to be a special occasion type guy. But what can I see next? Outside of finishing this feud, I don't know which you would put him next, to be honest. But I'd like to see if he's able to keep up that momentum and kind of keep the crowd on his side, or if they're going to actually have to turn him back. Charlie?
I'd love to see a heel turn because that's just the reaction that he's getting no matter what he does. Like Frank said, a tag match is the next obvious path to go here. Do we know if he has a full-time contract or if he's a part-timer?
We just know he has a contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't know if it's full-time.
He did get the Triple H point treatment, but I don't know if that tells us,
Yeah, like I don't know if he's going to be on Raw every week or whatever the case may be. But I've definitely enjoyed his run so far. I think they could do some more with him and leverage him. And I'm sure his clips are going to be very viral, which is good business for WWE as well. That's what they want. It's the reason why you bring someone like him in.
Absolutely.
And I give him kudos because he's in the same vein as a Bad Bunny and a Pat McAfee, where they really worth and respect the business enough to go out there and perform and not sandbag it. They really, put on a show. Speaking of Pat McAfee, happy Corbin. What'd you guys think? Charlie first.
Pat McAfee had the grand entrance. I like that. Pat, he put on another clinic.
What's the take on McMahon? We do have an entire episode. I'll post it about Vince McMahon. Long story short, it was his time to bow out for many of reasons. I'll just leave it at that. I will post that episode, the link in the comments, so you can check it out whenever you want. But that would be the long form version of it, and the best way to know all three of our thoughts on it, because we were all on that show together.
And boy, could you tell today was the first post-McMahon production.
It was.
I turned to my friends today and said it. If we had any question about who's in charge, unless maybe they meant Stephanie McMahon. Well, she's doing a fine job as CEO so far.
Yeah. Yeah. At this point, where do you see Corbin going from here?
He'll still be the dirtbag heel that he is. I'm sure come SmackDown, they'll have a new match for him to go with and another route to go.
Yeah.
I don't see them continuing with Pat McAfee and Corbin.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, that
pretty
makes sense.
definitive tonight. As for my thoughts on the match, it was fun. The entrance was very exciting, entertaining. It was fine. I mean, like we said, the stories were pretty good, so I have no real complaints. I did say I think I mentioned about I thought towards the end he looked a little tired, but then again, Pat's not wrestling every day, so I understand he's a little blown up. Kind of almost blew that dive to the outside, but he recovered. I mean, the finish looked a little sloppy, but I understand. Like I said, he's not wrestling every week. He may not have the best win. He's in great shape. He has fun out there. The crowd likes him. What else are you gonna say? Michael
If
Cole.
they
was very
do,
entertaining in
if
that
they
match.
do brand warfare again at Survivor Series,
Mhm.
we might get Corey Graves and
I
McAfee in a
We're
match.
going that direction with this.
They keep hinting on it.
Yeah,
It might happen. I'd be excited to watch that.
oh, they definitely have an entertaining match. And yeah,
Charlie?
they were kind of heavy-handed on the commentary tonight. You're correct.
As long as Corey Graves doesn't have to go through a million doctors for clearance,
He's already cleared.
I'm all for it.
He's already cleared.
I'm all for it.
Yeah,
So he's already been cleared. So I think it's just the right program. I think that would be the appropriate foot in the water to see how he does. There's not much more I could say about the match. It wasn't at the level of McAfee and Goodnight Ryan. It wasn't at the same level as McAfee and Theory or McAfee and Cole in terms of the match quality. It is what it is. I'll probably forget this match in a couple months even happened, but it's enjoyable to see McAfee in the ring and the audience pop for him. But it's certainly not like a signature match for him. I think he'll have better matches down the road the more they find opponents for him and storylines for him, which I'm sure that they will.
Oh yeah.
yeah. I mean, it was fine. He at least like you said, we may not remember it, but on the show, it was fun. The crowd liked it. As far as we had two celebrity matches, I guess you can call it that, and the crowd pretty much was into them. So it's win-win there. Win-win there. You're going to get a lot of mainstream attention from both of them. So I don't mind it, as long as they deliver pretty much in the ring, and they did. So
yeah. And if anyone in chat, wants to add their 2 cents or ask us a question, that's what the chat box is there for. So, if you feel obliged, throw something in the chat box. Speaking of storylines, we have Judgment Day and the Mysterios. At this point, I have completely given up on Dominic Mysterio ever turning heel on his father.
Yeah. Same.
If you want to look up the definition of vanilla in the dictionary, it's Dominic Mysterio right now. There is nothing interesting about Dominic Mysterio the way that he's presently presented.
Yeah.
I know Charlie has a lot to say about this. I'll kick it over to Charlie.
No, like you said, this match made me completely give up any hope that Dominic is ever going to turn on Ray. Very incredibly vanilla. Like in group game that we were playing, I unfortunately got the Mysterios, so I was forced to root for the Mysterios in this match.
You love Ray.
What?
Rey Mysterio is your favorite wrestler of all time?
Oh yeah, my favorite wrestler of all time. But I could not find any good in anything Dominic was doing. Ray put on a decent match, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But Dominic was just I can't get behind him in that match.
The crazy part is I like Dominic Mysterio, before he was in a tag team with his father. Like, I thought he was a better performer. He had more charisma before they formed this tag team. I think being with his father has hindered him more than helped him.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys something that I asked the group I was watching with tonight. How much would you pop if, since Edge has already returned, if they still played those vignette videos on Raw?
Which vignettes?
The vignette videos that everyone says was Edge.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Still played those vignette
Then
videos.
it's somebody else. I got you.
Yeah.
I don't see that, but okay.
Yeah,
I probably would.
It literally, I guess that was kind of a letdown that it was so obvious that it was Edge, and then they just delivered.
But what if it isn't? What if Raw comes and they still play those vignettes?
It remains to be seen, I guess.
Yeah.
It seems like Edge and Finn Balor traded places, hairstyles and ring outfits as well. That was an awesome entrance that Edge had, though. I really enjoyed it. And again, my synopsis of Judgment Day, I think, is true. Ripley is very much the leader.
Oh yeah,
and the person they're promoting and pushing out of the group more than anyone else. I really don't want a Beth Phoenix Ripley match. I just don't want to see it. I think there's enough talent in the women's division that they don't have to go to that match. They don't have to have a legacy performer come and have a match with Ripley.
Beth wasn't alongside him tonight, so just hope that that's the direction that they go in.
Yeah. Mark said something.
Wish it was Bray. Okay.
Wish it was Bray. I think everyone wished it was Bray. I mean, we could still get him. Now that McMahon's not there, there's probably a good shot of Bray coming back with Triple H in control with obviously his wife there, Stephanie. But it seemed like Bray had a huge issue or conflicts with Vince. So, I mean, we still may get a Bray Wyatt return. It just wasn't tonight. Like, he hasn't signed any deal. And the crazy thing about Bray Wyatt is that WWE still has merchandise coming out for him. Like, there's new action figures for Bray Wyatt that have come out. So the guy moves merch. He said at some point they're going to have to break bread and bring him back. Now, was Bray Wyatt the best wrestler in the world? No. Some of his matches were real stinkers, let's face it. But it was the presentation, it was the storyline, it was what he was building. And we never saw the full thing. So
yeah, especially after the Cena Funhouse thing, that was like the height of his creativity.
Mockamania running wild in chat once again.
Those stream was doing okay. I mean, obviously, ever since he was released, like, I think a year ago, I think tomorrow or something like that, or today, even, if I'm not mistaken. Like, ever since like his 90 days were up, he's like, people are expecting him to debut on Dynamite or show up on Raw like every single week, and I think that'll continue until something happens with him.
Yeah.
As for Edge, yeah, that was a nice entrance, cool look. The match was okay, wasn't as good as I thought it could be. It was more of a kind of a setup for the return. And that's why I didn't think there was going to be any turn tonight, because I knew he was going back, and kind of had to get that out the way. It was fine for what it was. It set up what it had to set up.
Yeah.
It was going after a tag match, I don't know, but I guess we'll see. Hopefully it benefits Judgment Day, but
That was a good spot.
yeah, fine.
Speaking of turns that didn't happen, Charlie's very upset. But I told him that it wasn't going to happen. He just didn't believe me. The Usos, Street Profits, another great match that they had. Not as long, didn't run as long as the Money in the Bank match, but still, another classic between the two tag teams. The Usos are clearly unstoppable. I don't know who's going to take the belts off of them.
No.
But it does look like we're going to get a Tez heel turn. Just the whole mannerisms.
When?
I think we might see it as soon as tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, the way the end of the match went, he couldn't make the pin right away, and then he was getting in the referee's face, wasting time, which led to the loss.
Yeah.
It's an easy story, you can tell right there. He'll blame Dawkins for it, even though it was clearly him. But and they were making a big deal about him being frustrated, so
Yeah.
it's not exactly subtle, and that's okay because that's where they're going. We want to. I mean, when they first brought it up, it seemed out of nowhere. Although I think over the last 2 months, it's been more organic with the way they've told the story. They can't get the titles back, so it's like it makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
And now's a good time to strike. He's been getting in even more tremendous shape. Been featured. It's time to sink or swim here.
Yep. For those watching, if you guys have an opinion or watch the show, what did you think of the tag match? If you follow the product, do you want to see Montez Ford break off into a solo run? He hurt his ribs and slowed down the pin. He could have been quicker to pin Uso. Yeah, I think that's part of the story as well, because I think Dawkins will say something to him, and then that will cause the argument, and that's how the split will probably occur. And that's what I like, is that everything meant something in this match towards the breakup, even the commentary.
Right.
And for all, and we keep saying Tez is going to turn heel. What happens if we get the opposite and just Dawkins turns heel?
Yeah, I think I brought it up last month.
I don't see them having as much of a story to tell if Dawkins turns heel. Because
no,
Dawkins isn't going to be the star here, and the star is going to be the guy who turns on the other.
True. Although, like I said many times on here and in general, I think his long-term future is as a top babyface in this company. But to get there, a turn it's worked for many people. As Sean, I'll tell you,
Brett was a heel.
Brett was a heel first. I mean, they didn't have when they split the Hart Foundation. It wasn't like an actual turn or anything like that. But still, in this company, like it's been their go-to thing for a while. When something isn't working, they just turn people heel. But that usually works, doesn't it? But in this case, he does need something to set up, because you can't. I don't think like them just going their separate ways is enough of an impact to kind of push him on to the next level. You turn him heel, they have a short feud, but you kind of like, which moves him into that upper mid-card heel role. You can feud him with Lashley, you can feud him with whatever, you can get him a U.S. title, something of note, until you're ready to push him to that next level. And then another year from now, he could be, for all we know, we could be talking about him in the main event of SummerSlam.
Money in the Bank winner or something like that. Speaking of, anything else you guys want to say about the tag match and anything? Okay. Speaking of Money in the Bank holder Theory against Lashley, U.S. title match. It went the way that it was supposed to go.
Yeah.
What's up? Yeah, it went the way it was supposed to go. Lashley's been built up for many, many months, even over the last 18 months, to be an unstoppable force. Picked up the quick victory over Theory. What do you think, Charlie? What do you think? I know we're all big fans of Theory. This
No
is the
way.
typical. This is the typical Money in the Bank holder treatment.
It went exactly as the match should have. It went as we previewed it. Theory just getting manhandled by Lashley. Quick tap out from. Why am I blanking out on his finisher name?
Hurt Lock.
The Hurt Lock.
Quick tap out from the Hurt Lock. And there you had it. I was very surprised that this wasn't the first match on the card.
Yeah, it wouldn't have got the crowd into it though. It was like a 4.5 minute match.
Yeah, I think
Frank, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it was everything it had to be. I mean, it didn't have to, it was much shorter than last month's match, and that's fine. I think honestly, I think I said earlier today, I thought this feud has helped get Lashley over as a strong babyface, and he had to go out there and destroy him. He did. Got Theory on screen, reminding everybody that he's here tonight for maybe something else. It made sense for him to tap quickly because he had bigger things on his mind tonight. So it accomplished everything it had to do. Lashley still looks like a monster. Theory was still set up for later on in the night, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, nothing to complain about here.
Well, speaking of later, do you guys want to go to what we have left, which is the main event?
Yeah, we already spoke about the Liv Morgan match and Rousey, so let's go.
I was thinking of what else. We had the Riddle come out before.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
There's not much to talk about. I don't know what you guys thought about that. Maybe
I thought it was a waste.
It was.
I didn't really care for it.
It meant absolutely nothing other than to possibly write Riddle off a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
That's all I thought of it.
We got nothing else out of it. So
they could have done more with Seth for this pay-per-view. Don't know why they didn't. We may never know, but maybe for all we know, Riddle had some sort of backstage incident that they're not releasing, and it's kind of a punishment for him.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? It just seemed out of place.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily like it. That's why I just completely skipped over it.
Yeah, it just came. I completely didn't think about it until I was just thinking in my head about it.
And it's 2022, right? It's 2022. Last time I checked.
Yep.
Right.
What is Kid Rock doing? Doing theme songs for WWE?
Oh, I thought you meant what was he doing making out with the fat chick at ringside, but
which they cut away from really quickly.
Yeah.
I guess he works cheap for them.
Did they listen to Kid Rock's new album?
I guess not.
Anybody?
Did they know the content that's on that album and where the political stance, like they're getting, they don't want to get too involved, but then they get way too involved. But they don't fact check who they're bringing in. Obviously, I think Kid Rock's a WWE Hall of Famer, but it was just ridiculous. That's how tone deaf Vince McMahon is, and hopefully now with Triple H there, he's not as tone deaf, and he brings in musical acts that are popular now.
Yeah,
they brought in Bad Bunny. It's great. Kid Rock, not relevant in today's day and age. Sorry. 20 years ago, maybe. Not.
Yeah, the first
presently.
time.
Main event, Roman, Brock, last man standing.
Now this was a fun match.
Let me tell you something. This was by far their best match, one-on-one match that they've ever had.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, beating that first WrestleMania match, which was really good match, but this was just, maybe not the most technically sound, but I think I said to you earlier, it was just booked as perfectly as you can book something like this. And this is what I had in mind earlier when I said it's going to be a crazy, overbooked train wreck style match. And it's exactly what it was.
Yeah, I said it needs to be Goldberg Lesnar at Mania, but a longer match.
100% what it was.
What we got. Let me tell you, Cowboy Brock is the best Brock Lesnar we have ever gotten.
Yeah.
100%. Can't help but smile when I see him out there, whatever he's doing.
I wish we would have got this Brock Lesnar a long time ago.
Yeah.
I really enjoy, and if this is his last match, I'm actually really, really sad if this is his last match.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. He doesn't need to be around the title picture anymore, but like, there's no reason, like, if he just did this once in a while with different people. What was we got a comment there.
Brock would have won without the mob job. Yeah,
I think that was the point. That was the point.
They had to do something to keep him down, right? And
which is
basically
funny.
what they did. But the whole thing with the tractor, it was just
everything about this match was just orchestrated chaos, and it was just so well done.
It was what we used to like maybe 20 years ago about the WWE main event style. It was just chaos.
Aaron Judge. See, I'm watching something else at the same time, so I said Aaron Judge.
Good day too.
Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. This was just a barn burner. This is one of the best SummerSlam main events I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
This is the best main event since they had that fatal 4-way.
Yeah.
5-way.
Yeah. I was there.
And then him putting Paul Heyman through the table. Oh my God, that was fantastic.
Heyman selling. Even at the end of the show, they were pulling. He looked like he was a zombie, like he was dead, like his eyes barely opened, and like.
And they delivered Theory.
They did, yeah.
They delivered Theory.
Yep.
He didn't get the cash in, but he did get some shots in on Brock. You had the Usos involved again, which we expected. Roman standing tall.
It took quite a bit.
It was really well booked. I don't know if I would have done it any differently, which I guess is a compliment.
Yeah, it was everything that this WrestleMania match a couple months ago wasn't. It's like this should have been that match.
Yeah.
I mean, Brock was booked a heck of a lot stronger here. You know, the Mania match he just lost out of nowhere, and this one they made him out to be this monster again.
Yeah.
Which I found very interesting. And if you're talking about last match, I don't know if they would have booked him so strongly, but it just was a lot of fun. Michael Cole's yelling, "Just count faster!" It was just ridiculous in the best possible way.
I definitely enjoyed that match. Brock, that was a 23-minute match, too.
It's one of his longest matches in a long time.
It's crazy.
There was a ball in the crowd, and Brock was knocked down, I believe. And your cheer fan shouted, "Just ring the fucking bell already!" It was so good.
Yeah, the commentary was crazy. I think he comes with the tractor, he lifts the ring. It's funny because a friend of mine said, "You think he's going to lift the ring with that?" And sure enough, he did. and Corey Graves is like, he said, what did he say? He's like, "Oh my God, we're about to be behind Kid Rock right here. How far is he back?" He was in front row. And it was just the way they sold it. And Cole tonight was actually really on his game. I'll give him that, Michael.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's no Vince being there, but even the McAfee match, the way he was selling that, and just this main event, the way he was selling the chaos at the end, I have to give him credit there.
We got some comments here. He lifted the damn ring. That's super crazy.
Loved it.
Brock took some damage. He's got it. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
they're both going to be in pain tomorrow.
A couple of those table bumps look pretty nasty.
Heyman and tomorrow.
What
did you think about the start of the match when Brock just jumps off the top of the track?
Luther passes him like.
I swear he was going to blow his knee out like 5 times during the match. On the bar, all out.
You got to give Brock credit, man. I mean, he could have just been the same old Brock Lesnar that he was since he returned to WWE. But this whole reinvention since last year's SummerSlam. It's basically been 1 year with this version of Brock. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And what's funny is people said, I don't think Brock can talk. He's proven he could talk.
Yes, he can.
He did it in UFC.
He's more fun. Like, you notice he can talk. He just has to talk the way he wants to. Like when he's trying to be a serious monster heel, he should have somebody talking for him. But when he's just out there being himself, you can see it. Like you said, what he did in UFC, and then now he's being Brock.
Yeah,
that's what Brock is. He's a freak athlete, and he's a fun guy. Apparently,
I can't get over how good this reign has been for Roman Reigns as well. We're talking about 700 days as champion.
Then there was the beatdown on Roman Reigns, and Paul Heyman is just handing Brock the championship.
Heyman was great until a match, as always, but geez.
Paul Heyman played such a pivotal role in this match. It was, oh my God.
I don't think there's a better performer, maybe pound for pound in the sport than Paul Heyman, what he can do outside of actually, wrestling. But geez.
And I guess I'll pose this question to both of you now with Brock out of the storyline for, the all intensive purposes, probably at least the next few months, or maybe forever. I hope not. Where do you see Roman going with these two titles? I mean, we know that he's going to face Drew. Do we think that Drew's going to be the one that actually takes the titles off of him? Charlie?
At this rate, I feel like Roman should go to Mania with the championship.
The last couple of years, I know. Yeah.
They built him up so well that I can't envision anyone beating him besides Cody, Seth, or a cash-in by Theory.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the way you built, and it's been so well, you if you're going to end this, it should be at a major situation, like who you can put over, like you said, like a Cody. Not that he needs to be put over, but you know what I mean, like as far as a big moment. Outside, outside. I mean, there's nobody else. Obviously, they could go back to Seth again, since they didn't really finish that. But outside of that, I couldn't even tell you. Outside of our dream scenario of somehow Moxley getting out of his contract and showing up on Raw or something or the end of a pay-per-view, which is not going to be happening, of course. Who else can challenge him? Rock, yeah. Mark, yeah. Obviously, that's what everybody's been talking about.
But does it have to be for the titles?
No. And I wouldn't want it to be for the titles, but at Mania it makes sense. But at the same time, if Cody comes back for the Rumble, say like everybody thinks, and wins it, is there a better scenario than that?
Is there a possibility of a triple threat of Cody, Seth, and Roman at WrestleMania?
I think they're going to keep Seth and Cody for Mania.
Okay.
I don't see Roman being in that match.
You don't?
I see Roman being against The Rock at Mania.
For the titles.
Not necessarily for the titles, but I do think that Austin Theory is going to cool off on his cash-in. He's going to take some time to regroup before he gets beaten down time after time after time.
He might need a new briefcase after tonight.
He definitely will.
Like a flattened quarter on a railroad.
My only hope is that, with new management, maybe they'll cool off on the, let's beat the case holder like a drum until they're ready to cash in.
Yeah.
I think the last person that was booked well throughout holding the case was probably Seth. Seth he won the feud with Ambrose. He did have several big wins before he got to cash it in. But
let me ask the both of you, Speaking of Triple H and WWE and creative, how long before we see Braun Breaker on Raw or SmackDown
Ooh,
permanently?
that's a good question.
Like, you could call him up tomorrow if you wanted to. I know he's still the champion. I mean, I know he's had less than how many matches. I don't know exact number now, but like every time I see him, he seems to get better, which is insane for a guy that's been in the business for a year.
I mean, I'm not saying he's a threat to Roman, but he could honestly be built to a guy that
Yeah, sure.
it would be an interesting program.
If you could get him up and build him up in quick order, which you could, depending on how the crowd takes to him. But I do expect them to wait a little while longer. I don't know if they'll wait to like a Rumble, have him debut or something like that. But I guess we'll see. He's got another title defense coming up, but on TV. But I know they're supposedly booking a show in September, the day after the Castle show. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's a matter of time before they're going to try. And I thought so beforehand with the old management, and I don't think they're going to have any different thoughts either on this guy.
Yeah. Charlie?
As you know, I don't really follow NXT 2.0, but I do know that Braun Breaker is a big deal, and I've seen a few of his matches. Definitely in the next class of call-ups.
Yeah.
I just don't know when that'll be. I know he has the title defense at Heatwave or whatever they're calling it.
Is it called Heatwave?
Yeah.
It's a TV. It's a special episode.
They took the ECW name?
Yeah, they did.
Then sons of bitches.
Hey, they own it. They might as well use it, I guess.
They took the ECW name to go against AEW?
I guess so.
Well, no, this is not the show that's going to be on the network. This is, like I said, the Heatwave is the special. It's just a regular Tuesday night show, just a special.
What's the show going against All Out?
Has not been officially announced yet, so there's no name or anything set.
You can tell Triple H is back in charge, that he's like, we're going to revitalize NXT to go against AEW. What do you guys think this pay-per-view? I still call them pay-per-views as a whole. What do you think? Frank, go first.
Okay, sure. I mean, it was pretty strong. It was bookended by two excellent matches.
Yep.
I thought that was a great opener. Got the crowd into it right away, having Becky and Bianca out there. I thought it was wasn't as good as their Mania match, maybe to me. Maybe I'll have to watch it back, but it was a great way to start the show. And obviously the angle at the end got the crowd really going. I mean, top to bottom, was it the strongest card if you look at every match? No, maybe not. It's not the best SummerSlam ever, but it's probably the one. It's obviously loads better than last year's, which left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. And it got people talking, and people are excited coming out of it. And I think that's the most important thing, coming into this after this crazy news over the last month with Vince leaving and all. So I think overall I just enjoyed it. It was fun. It kind of flew by. Didn't seem like a long show. Didn't waste a lot of time.
So with blood, I don't like to see a lot of blood unless it's meaningful. I think too much blood, it becomes like AEW and ECW, where it's blood just for the sake of blood.
Yeah.
They need to pick and choose the spots where people blade, or there's juice, as they call it. I don't like blood in every single show. It just, to me, it goes way too overboard. But that's just my personal opinion. Charlie, your thoughts of this pay-per-view?
I'd say it was a solid B+ pay-per-view. As we first got on this live stream, I vented my only complaint about the event with making Liv Morgan look weak. Honestly, I think that was the only crummy match on the card.
Yeah.
I think this pay-per-view did exactly what it had to, and hell, you can tell, as I said before, that this is the first post-McMahon production of WWE, which is also a big deal for them to come out successful in doing so. Yeah, upper tier, solid B+ pay-per-view.
The blood tonight was from the table, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looked particularly nasty.
I would say, I agree. It was a B+ player of a pay-per-view,
Sure.
which is fitting because Triple H ran this pay-per-view, and that was one of his lines: B+ player to Daniel Bryan. I'm looking forward to the future. It's a good first step. Speaking of looking back or looking forward, we're going to be looking back. Charlie, you want to make the announcement we texted about? Our special look back episode.
Oh, SummerSlam 1992?
Yes.
Yep. We'll be doing a special back in time episode of SummerSlam 1992. The 30-year anniversary of it.
We should be recording that probably on Saturday, Charlie.
Okay.
Frank, if you want to join us, I don't know what your schedule is like. You're more than welcome. Anything you guys want to say to the fans that watch or are watching now or are going to be watching in the future? This particular show. Frank, you go first.
Please comment, feedback. We love it. Thanks for being engaged so far.
Yep.
I have a great time talking with you guys. We could talk all night about wrestling, I'm sure. But yeah, thanks so much for your support so far. Please tell your friends, like, share, subscribe, as they say. I'm glad that you guys have invited me in to do some of these things. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, of course. Yeah, we enjoy having you. Charlie, your words.
As Frank said, like, share, subscribe, comment, tell your friends. We got a lot more in store for you.
I believe we have around 15 wrestling-related episodes on the channel. Please check them out. I will say this, the quality of each show has gotten better from a production standpoint as well. So we keep improving, and that's with the comments from the community and the audience. So without you guys, like, the changes wouldn't be made. So thank you for that. Share, subscribe, like. We're on our way to 400 subscribers. I believe we're around the 390 mark, which is awesome.
Awesome.
Hey, how you doing? It's been a really long day. I'm losing my voice. Thank God we have no recording for the rest of the day. As usual, our sign off is good night and good luck. Everyone be well. Farewell. Take care. Thank you.
Peace.